Hello and welcome to my very first unboxing video. And this is a bit of a follow-up video on the previous video I made, in which I ranted about my crappy Line 6 interface, how shitty it was and how fed up I was with it, and yada 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 yada. So for this video I'm gonna show you my brand new Lexicon Alpha. I got this thing second hand today for 30 bucks, pretty much nothing. And well, let's see what this little baby has to offer. It's so tiny. Look at this. Look at this. As big as my hand. And my hands are not very big. So let's first take a look at the case. The other side is made of metal. Back side too. It's pretty much a flap. The front side, this is plastic, and this is too. It feels really sturdy. Yeah, I can't actually move anything. No, it feels pretty decent. So I'm not sure if there's actually another metal case running all under this, but it feels sturdy enough. So do the knobs. Knobs feel good. And yeah, let's see what's kind of inputs and outputs are on this thing. So first, the front panel. We have a little instrument input. This is an unbalanced input for guitars, bass guitar, acoustic guitar with pickup, those kind of things. And we also have two inputs on the back, or actually three inputs. There's two line inputs and a microphone XLR input. Now we'll note that there's no 48 volts on this thing, which doesn't really matter for me, because I always use a dynamic microphone for vocals. That's pretty much the only thing I use a microphone for. So yeah, I don't really need a 48 volts for a condenser microphone of the sorts. We also have some outputs, two line outs for monitors that I do not have, and two line out RCA outputs for boxes that I also not have. So, and of course we have our little USB connector, because this is a USB interface. Now, one thing to note about the inputs is that this thing is a 2 input, 2 output configuration. So, meaning, say I plug in my bass guitar to this instrument input, the Lexicon Alpha will actually disable line in 1. Same goes for the microphone inputs. If I plug anything into here, the line in 2 is disabled. So it's not actually 4 inputs, it's 4 inputs that you can plug something in, but there's always just 2 active. So that's interesting. There's also some knobs on the front, because we love knobs. And of course 2 gain knobs, one for each input channel. And you can also see line in instrument and line 2 microphone, with 2 tiny little red peak LEDs. We also have a monitor switch for stereo or mono monitoring. We have a monitor mix, so we can either have the listen to the direct input from the inputs themselves, or listen to playback coming from the computer through USB. And we have an output level, which I'm going to assume increases or decreases the level of the microphone and line outputs. So, that was a whole story. And of course we have some information on the back here. I'm not sure if you can read. There we go. It's the Lexalfa. Yes, okay, great. Harman Music Group, made in China. Interesting. Not even Lexicon. Okay, so that's the little box itself. Let's look at some other stuff we got with it. Because I actually got a CD with it, which I'm not going to use because, well, I already downloaded the drivers from the Lexicon website because they supplied up-to-date drivers for Windows 7 64-bit, which I'm using. And I even read they are working on Windows 10 drivers, which is surprising for a somewhat older product. At least I think it's somewhat older. Anyway, let's see what's on the CD. We got a Lexicon Pantheon Reverb plugin, which is gonna make me sneeze. Yes, no, okay, no sneeze. Steinberg Cubase Light Edition 4. Well, that's something we're never going to use. Am I a little out of focus? Yes, I am. Windows drivers, which I'm also going to use. And owner manuals, well, we have those on paper. Beautiful, beautiful paper. So let's see what the Lexicon Alpha Desktop Recording Studio Owner's Manual can tell us. Important safety instructions, which we're going to completely ignore. Service info and warranty, which we're also going to ignore as this is a second-hand bought product. So let's see, features, that's always interesting. We have 4 analog audio inputs, 1 XLR with extremely low noise preamp and 50 dB gain, nice. 2 analog RF filtered TRS active balanced line inputs, don't know if you can read it, stupid camera. And 1 high impedance analog instrument input, yes, RCA outputs, line outputs, high powered headphone amplifier. So what's interesting to notice is that the ADA converters are 24-bit, but it only supports 2 sample rates, 44.1 kHz and 48 kHz. So it's not super high. I pretty much only use 48 so far, so it's not a bother for me, but yeah, it is an entry-level budget interface, so yeah. No 192 kilohertz puts 0 latency, blah blah blah, 100% USB powered. Well, it's not necessarily a positive thing. Something about the computer, the panels, connections, well, that all speaks for themselves. Access diagram, look at all the things. Using it, well, I think that will come pretty natural too. Something about Cubase, which I'm also not interested in, and recording. This is that plugin, which I'm actually really interested in. Oh, and this is something important. Adjusting the buffer settings, because setting the buffers right, or the buffer size right, I should say, helps a lot with controlling the latency, because we are dealing with, well, first of all, USB, second of all, digital sound processing, which introduces latency into your signal, which can get really annoying, especially when we are playing music that needs a very tight performance, such as metal, which I mostly play. Lots of specifications, I'm not gonna read through all those. If you can read this, have fun, and a signal diagram, whoop-de-doop, and some empty pages which I can draw porn on. Okay, let's see, this is the software installation guide, which I'm also not going to use because I already have the drivers installed. And this is the VST Reverb plugin. That's going to be interesting. Something about history, reverbation and reality. Looks interesting. Okay. 35 factory presets. Lots of different reverb types. That's always good. RT60. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to experiment with this thing. Whew, that's the presets. Well, I guess we'll find those out once we open Reaper. Last but not least, we have a USB cable, which seems to be pretty damn long. For those who want to know just how long this USB cable is, it's pretty damn long. Look at that. Well, distance ain't gonna be an issue.